There's a portion within the book where they quote Barth 1980, and he describes the responsibilities. And quite honestly, it is very interesting because it's saying that the principal is responsible for everything that happens in the building. It's responsible for employees, personnel, students. On top of that, as a result, as time has gone on, principals have added on more responsibility for children being able to safely come to school and safely leave school, to be safe in the school, to be safe at home. We also take on that role too, because we are mandated reporters. Um, we also are responsible for making sure that the snow was plowed. We're responsible for making sure that students can go home in the during the snow time. We're responsible for making sure that students know sex education. We're responsible for students to have a moral education. Also, have a sense of citizenship for their country. Responsible for evacuating them off the bus, evacuating them out of the building. We're responsible for making sure the lunch programs are going on, breakfast programs, hold the responsibility of physical conditions of things in the building, like the furnace or the water or the playground equipment or any of those things. But on top of that, they are accountable. Principals are accountable to the student's achievement, to their grade level, to how they're doing in school, the growth. If they're gifted, if they're not gifted, those are important. And I think principals have become a provider of social services at this point. That's really at the end of the day. And that's what he's saying, that it's not just about education anymore. It's more than that. It's about almost the whole child, right? And then on top of that, the education. So the principal's role has continually, as it shows you, continually evolves, and I expect it to continually evolve even now. The No Child Left Behind Act happened in 2005, around that time, and it mentions that they did several surveys for principals to find out how did they feel about the process of the No Child Left Behind Act. It required a lot from public schools to submit standardized test scores and to have goals. And they did a survey and they said 71% of principals responded that it was a realistic goal for them, but 29% of principals responded that this was an unrealistic goal. And overall, many principals were underutilized through the process. That's basically what the author is indicating, that it did not incorporate principles enough through the process of making this law. And it heavily allowed the federal government to do a lot of the checking and working out the details. And it was a lot of paperwork, a lot of those things. And I remember through that process, I was teaching at that time when that happened. And I remember all the things that we had to do to make sure that we were reaching our goals, or else they said we wouldn't get a certain amount of funding and so forth. Up till now, I feel like right now at this point, though, we don't really deal with that particular topic, but I know that when they mention that when the government does add in additional expectations, it does put a lot of demands and constraints on a principal. Their hands are tied in some ways when they are not able to speak on behalf of the communities that they serve. And as a result, too, it changes the role of a principal. In terms of private schools, though, it is, we tend to look towards what's going on in the federal government and we make changes, but we're kind of slow at times to do that because it's not pressing for us as it would be in a public school. So that is the No Child Left Behind section. But as we roll in out of that, we start looking at some other things with the changing role of the principal. Areas of responsibility, it's increased with marketing, politics. They said about 70%. Working with social agencies, planning, implementation, offsite staff development, that has increased. Developing of instructional practice, which is good. That has increased. Curriculum development, that has increased, which is good. Working with site-based councils or constituencies, and attention to issues related to potential legal liabilities, which is, I would say that's very true as well. The principal's job overall is continually changing over and over and over again. I think that it's something that as you enter into it, your foot into it, just remember that you're going to be continually learning on this process. And I think that's about it.